The Odyssey comes to Piney Grove. Now, one Friday morning down at Jack's Diner in Piney Grove, the Biscuit Boardroom was already in full session. Deacon Buck Mercer had his usual seat, 2 biscuits deep and halfway into a third, when Pastor Cone rolled in with his notes tucked under his arm. "Morning, brethren," Pastor Cone said, easing into the booth like a man who'd wrestled both Jacob and a folding chair on the way in. "Morning, Pastor," said Buck. "What you teaching us today? Hope it ain't Leviticus again. I'm still recovering from last time." Pastor Cone smiled. "No, sir. Today we're talking about the Odyssey." Now that got everybody's attention, mostly because nobody in Piney Grove had ever met Mr. Odyssey. "Is that one of them minor prophets?" Possum Tucker asked. "Not exactly," Pastor Cone said. "It's an old story, older than Piney Grove, older than Jack's Biscuits, and almost as rich. It's about a man named Odysseus trying to get home." "Well," Buck said, "that already sounds like half the men I know after a church fellowship." Pastor Cone leaned in. "This man's been gone 20 years. 10 years at war, 10 years trying to get back to his wife and boy, and everything in the world tries to keep him from getting home. Sounds like Highway 11 on a Friday," Possum muttered. "The long road home." "Now Pastor Cone continued, this story ain't really about monsters and storms. It's about something deeper, what it means to get home." "Home like where your recliner fits just right?" Buck asked. "Exactly. Home where somebody knows you, even when you don't look the same anymore." And that got quiet for a second. "Because when Odysseus finally gets back," Pastor Cone said, "his own wife doesn't recognize him at first. His own son barely knows him. Time has done its work." Deacon Buck nodded slowly. "Been married 52 years. I can tell you, Pastor, we don't look like the couple in that wedding photo no more." "That's the point," Pastor Cone said. "The Odyssey asks, how do you recognize someone after time has changed them?" A father and a son. Now, about that time, Jarrett Wallace, caregiver and part-time theologian, rolled Pastor Cone's chair a little closer to the table. "And there's a boy in that story," Pastor Cone went on, "named Telemachus. He grew up without his daddy, spent his whole life trying to figure out who his father really was." Possum leaned back. "That'll preach." "Yes, it will," Pastor Cone said, "because every one of us at some point asks that question. Who is my father? What made him who he was?" "And sometimes," Buck added, "you don't really understand him until you're about his age." Pastor Cone pointed his biscuit at Buck like a preacher with a laser pointer. "Exactly right. A marriage that lasts." "Now let me tell you about his wife, Penelope," Pastor Cone said. "Faithful woman, 20 years she waited." 20? Possum nearly choked. "Man, I can't get folks to wait 20 minutes at the DMV. "She waited," Pastor Cone said, "not because she had to, but because they shared the same kind of mind. They understood each other. Buck nodded. That's rare right there. And here's the kicker, Pastor Cone said. All along the way, Odysseus had chances, wealth, comfort, even immortality, but he turned it all down. For what? Jerry asked. For her, for home, for real life, not a perfect one. The real lesson. Now the coffee had gone quiet. Even the grill seemed to listen. There's another story tied to this one, Pastor Cone said. A warrior named Achilles, great, famous, died young for glory. Sounds like somebody chasing headlines, Buck said. Maybe so, Pastor Coney said, but when Odysseus meets him later, Achilles says something powerful. I'd rather be alive and ordinary than dead and famous. That sat heavy on the table. So, what's the lesson, Pastor? Possum finally asked. Pastor Cone smiled just a little. The Odyssey is telling us this. The good life ain't about glory. It's about getting home. It's about people. It's about staying alive long enough to love well. Closing at Jack's. Now, as the waitress topped off their coffee, Buck leaned back and said, So let me get this straight. This whole Odyssey thing is really about family, time, and figuring out what matters before it's too late? Pastor Cone nodded. That's it. Possum scratched his head. Well, I'll be, Homer must have spent some time in Piney Grove. Pastor Cone chuckled. Or maybe Piney Grove's been living out Homer all along. And with that, the Biscuit Boardroom adjourned, every man just a little quieter, a little wiser, and maybe thinking about the long road home. And somewhere in Piney Grove, the lesson lingered. You can chase glory if you want, but don't miss your life trying to get it, because in the end, it's not about the war, it's about who's waiting on you when you get home.